before borders, before flags, before discovery. This land had a name long before it was called the New World, before it was called America, before it was divided, sold, measured, and claimed. Indigenous nations across this continent knew this land as Turtle Island, not as a metaphor, not as folklore, but as geography, memory, and law.
And here's why. Niji is an ancient descriptive term that defines all Aboriginal people that have indigenously inhabited the landmass historically called Turtle Island, which includes Canada, North, Central, and South America, along with the surrounding Pacific Islands. These landmasses are commonly referred to as Turtle Island for many heavily spiritually inclined reasons.
This is not a story about the past. This is a story about what still lives beneath the maps. Stay with us.
If you look at a map of North America looks like a turtle. Mexico down to Panama is the tail. Florida is one back leg. Baja California is the other back leg. The front leg is Alaska, and the other front leg is up near Labrador.
Turtle Island is an indigenous name for what is now called North America. It is used by multiple nations, including the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Lenape, and other Algonquian-speaking peoples. It is important to understand this clearly. Turtle Island does not belong to one tribe. It is not a single religion. It is not a symbol invented later. It is a shared understanding of the land itself. For these nations, land was not an object. It was not property. It was not something to be owned, conquered, or sold. The land was alive.
Facing all of this massive diversity, because there's so much to talk about, and a lot of that's because of our colonial U.S. history books that teach us nothing about indigenous peoples, and
it had a spirit, a memory, a responsibility. Humans were not masters of the land. They were participants in it. This worldview shaped everything. Governance, law, trade, migration, and identity. And when Europeans arrived, this worldview became a threat because a living land cannot be owned.
On the turtle as a symbol of life and earth. That means the turtle symbolizes tranquility and healing. They are associated with emotional depth and divine connection with our intuition.
Slowly, organically, alive. This is why the continent is called Turtle Island. Western traditions often call this a myth, but for indigenous nations, this story was instruction. It taught balance, caretaking, and humility. The turtle did not conquer the water, it carried the burden, and that difference matters. Because the way a civilization understands its creation determines how it treats the world. In many Turtle Island creation stories, the world began with water. There was no land, only ocean. From the sky world above, a woman fell, Sky Woman. Animals gathered to help her. They dove into the deep waters, one by one, trying to retrieve Earth from below. Many failed, until finally, a small creature succeeded. Earth was placed on the back of a great turtle, and from that turtle's back, land grew.
After another, the animals are trying desperately to get to the bottom so they can bring up some soil to put on the back of the turtle's shell. Now it's getting late in the afternoon, and you start to give up hope. You're starting to talk to each other and say, look, we tried our best to help Nana Bojo, but there's just no way that we're going to be able to do it. So finally, as they're kind of talking and amongst them, some of the animals gathered around, and this little creature called the muskrat comes out from beneath the other creatures in between them, and he looks up and he says, I'll give it a try. And right away when the other animals see Muskrat, they start laughing. They're like, oh, come on, Muskrat, if I couldn't do it, there's no way you're going to be able to do it. Don't even waste your time. Don't bother. He says, look, I want to help Nana Bojo. I'm going to give it a try. And he gets up on Turtle's shell. That little guy took as big a breath as he could, and down he went. They're laughing like, this isn't going to work at all. So 20 minutes go by, no muskrat. 30 minutes went by, no muskrat. 35 minutes, still no muskrat. Now the animals are really getting late. 40 minutes go by, and you see off in the distance there, little muskrat's body pops to the surface. They rush over, and they grab little muskrat and put him on the back of the turtle shell, and flip him over. He's not moving. Muskrat has died. Muskrat drowned trying to get to the bottom. Trying to help Nana Bojo, and here he tried so hard, he sacrificed his life, and he died trying to get to the bottom of the ocean. The beaver looked over at little muskrat, and he noticed that muskrat's paw was in this tight little fist. So he comes over and peels open muskrat's tiny little paw, and inside that little paw was some soil and some earth. Those big animals were getting down, and they knew they were running out of breath. They turned around, they gave up, and they went back. The muskrat pushed through it, and he went all the way down. He got right to the bottom of the ocean and got that little bit of soil. But as he was swimming back to the top, he ran out of air and he drowned. They take that little bit of soil in muskrat's paw and slap it on the back of turtle shell. And as soon as the soil hits the back of turtle shell, the shell starts to expand and get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Rarely discussed is how familiar this story sounds. Flood narratives appear across the world. In Africa, in Mesopotamia, in Asia, and in the Americas. Different names, different symbols, but the same core memory: water, survival, and land reborn. This does not mean these stories were copied. It suggests something older and something shared. Indigenous knowledge was not isolated. It was global, and dismissing it as myth allowed it to be erased. You cannot take land until you rename it. When Europeans arrived, they did not see Turtle Island. They saw opportunity. They called it the New World. They called it America. They erased indigenous names from maps and replaced them with their own. Not accidentally, strategically. Because naming is ownership. If the land is Turtle Island, it belongs to itself. If the land is America, it can be claimed. This is how colonization begins. Not with violence, but with language. Once the name changes, the story changes. And once the story changes, the law follows. European systems brought property, law, land became a commodity, something to be measured, divided, and sold. Indigenous law saw land as relational. European law saw land as inert. This conflict still exists today. Courtrooms debate ownership, pipelines cross sacred ground, contracts override memory. If land is alive, ownership becomes an illusion, and that idea threatens everything modern systems depend on. Not all removal happened with force. Some removal happened on paper. As colonial governments expanded, census categories changed. Indigenous people were reclassified. Some became colored. Some became Negro. Some became mulatto. Some became freedmen. Communities did not disappear. Their identity did. Once reclassified, land rights changed. Treaties no longer applied. Claims were denied. This process has been called paper genocide, not because people vanished, but because recognition did. And without recognition, there is no protection. Today, the name Turtle Island is returning, in land acknowledgements, in activism, in education. Not to erase anyone, but to remember everyone. Names carry memory, and memory is resistance. When a name survives, the story survives, and Turtle Island never forgot itself. The land did not forget its name, only the maps did, beneath the borders, beneath the highways, beneath the deeds and documents. Turtle Island remains, alive, watching, waiting to be remembered. History is not lost. It is buried, and the land still remembers who it is. If you found this story necessary and interesting, subscribe, like, and share. It helps us grow and improve our community. Thanks for watching.